It's your girl, Hope You TV Movie Bestie, and I watch good shit. And I just got done watching season 8, episode 15 of The Neighborhood. Now, I thought this episode was a very relatable episode, and I enjoyed it. Gemma is very stressed out in her job. Runs a private school, and it's just a lot of stuff she has to deal with. She's going to work, and her car is giving this error message. And so she has Calvin come over and look at it, and Calvin's like, yeah, you need to take it on down to the fuse box. So she goes down, and, Marty is having the car looked at. And at first she's just like, oh my gosh, I got to get to work. I got to do this. I got to do that. And Calvin's like, Gemma, you need to calm down. Like, let me get your phone. You just relax. Go ahead and get you a latte. So she sits down, she does, and she starts talking to the barista. And basically he's like, I used to have a high power job too. He said, I was an air traffic controller. And one day I just decided this wasn't for me, and I just peaced out during my shift. Now, I don't recommend you peacing out during your shift. Go ahead and finish your day. And then if you feel like this ain't working for you, then get up out of there. But not in the middle of the day, especially not if you're an air traffic controller, because, baby, we got enough going on with planes coming out the sky. We don't need nothing extra. So anyways, he said, I followed my bliss and now I work here. And so Gemma is like, you're right. So Gemma decides to shirk all her responsibilities for the day, and she's just hanging out in the fuse box. Like, they finish her car, and she's like, no, I'm good. And so meanwhile, Tina is freaking out at work because everybody's coming in and they're supposed to be meeting with Gemma. And Tina is just like, I don't know where Gemma is. And they're like, well, can you find her? And she's like, Gemma. And so she calls Calvin, and she's like, y'all done with Gemma's car? And he's like, yeah, but she won't leave. She just hanging out. And so she's like, she got to get back here. Calvin calls Dave, and Dave, he comes down and he's like, Gemma, yeah, right? Because Gemma, she done got in the massage chair, and she just, she having a good time. And so Dave is like, look, I know you're feeling stuck, and I know you're in a weird place, and we've both been there. He said, I'm there as well, because Dave has started a new job. He does telehealth. And basically, Dave is trying to really help people work through their issues, their problems, resolve conflict. And they like, nah, I just need you to sign off on this thing. Like, I need you to give me a reason to bring my pet on a plane, or I need a handicap sticker, I need a reasonable accommodation, like something like that. And so Dave's boss is actually like a teenager, which is a whole nother level of stress. And so Dave is like, yeah, I got a teenage boss who is just like, shut up and sign the paperwork. And he's like, so I get it. We're both, in a weird place with our jobs, but we're going to find what works for us. We're going to find the next thing, and we'll figure it out. And so Gemma's like, yeah, you're right. And so she's like, hey, you want to get in this massage chair? It's pretty cool. And so he's like, actually, I do. So he sits down. He has a good time. And then Tina, she shows up at the fuse box, and she's like, Gemma, if you don't get your ass back to work. And so Gemma's like, okay, I had my day. I just needed to relax. And Tina's like, okay, yeah, you did that. Now get back to work. And so, she takes her and they leave. But I thought that was a really good, focus of the episode, because I think that's happening with a lot of people. I don't know if it's like a millennial thing or what, but I just feel like people are not working till they die no more. Like, we're not about that life. Like, I feel like people are taking non-traditional retirement routes. Like, they're leaving corporate America. They're leaving these high power, high stress jobs and going to do something that, maybe doesn't pay as much, but it's a lot less stressful, finding your bliss. And I also know that leaving a high power job or whatever, that is a luxury, and not everybody has that. And so I'm not telling nobody to go quit their jobs, because baby, these bills don't quit. But, maybe take a staycation, maybe take a day off, because you and your mental health and your well-being are always the most important things, because these jobs don't care about us. Like, if we die, if we quit, they just gonna post our position and fill it and keep it moving. So always take care of you. So I thought that was a great overall message of the episode. Then the other part of the episode was Marty and Malcolm, who are planning their bachelor parties. Now they are planning a very like low-key party. They gonna do jello shots, laser tag, go-karts, but it's a butler boy thing. You know, that's what they like. And so now that Malcolm is marrying Mercedes, his publicist is like, oh my gosh, you're a brand. We're getting all these endorsements, all these sponsorships. Your bachelor party can be this whole Vegas extravaganza. He's like, whoa, like all expenses paid, you know, all these perks. And so he's like, let's do that. Calvin was like, prior when they were just going to do the butler boy thing, Calvin was like, yeah, y'all got it. Nah, I ain't even coming. And they're like, Dad, you ain't going? He's like, nah, I don't want to do none of that. And so when Malcolm tells him about this whole Vegas shindig, he's like, oh yeah, I'm in on that. And so Marty is kind of like, all right, yeah, if you want to do that, Malcolm, we can. Later in the episode, Marty comes to Malcolm and he's telling him, it's cool, we're going to go to Vegas, we're going to have a good time. I just thought we could have like a Butler Boys, you know, one final blowout before everything changes. And Malcolm's like, what's changing? We still brothers. And he's like, yeah, but we're both getting married. You're marrying a famous person and your life is going to be very different. And we're going to have our own separate lives. And although we will always be brothers, like things will for sure change. Malcolm is just, you know, realizing that like, yeah, he does have a point. And he says, you know what? Forget it. We're not going to do the Vegas thing. It's just going to be us, brothers, exactly how we planned it. We're going to do one final hoorah. And so Calvin comes in and he's like, wait, we ain't going to Vegas no more? Like, okay, you know what? Forget it. I'm out again. And so they're like, Dad. And he's like, no, I'm out. Malcolm goes back to his publicist and he tells her like all of it's off. And she's just like, ugh, all this money we giving up. And so she's like, I don't even blame you. I blame Marty. You played the brother card. And she said, you know what? I wasn't even going to tell y'all this, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you now. Chris Angel was going to do a private mind freak for y'all. And Marty's like, what? And Marty said, you should have led with that. And she's like, no, forget it. It's off the table now. And so Marty's like, wait. Yeah, I want to do Vegas. And she's like, nope, it's over. And Marty's like, just let me mourn in peace. And so that's the end of the episode. But a great, relatable episode this week. You know the deal. I'm on all the socials. Your TV Movie Bestie. I will see y'all on the next show on the next episode. Bye, besties.